Welcome back to Rough Cut Woodworking. For this particular installment of my series on cabinet making, we're going to make upper cabinets. So I've already dragged over the melamine, and we're going to start off doing the exact same thing we did with lower cabinets, and that's trimming the top so it's nice and sharp and flat, trimming off the end to do the same thing. Now after that, it gets a little different because upper cabinets are only 12 inches deep, whereas lowers are 24. So that measurement's going to be a bit different. First, true up the edges. Now things get a little bit different. Now we're going to cut strips that are 11 3/4 wide. Again, when I put the back on, that's a 1/4 inch thick, that'll give me a true 12-inch deep cabinet. So 11 3/4. So again, we'll turn that sideways, but now we're cutting from the top down, so we're going to be using this movable stop here, this measuring slide right here. Move it down to 11 3/4. Right there. Then pivot it on top of the edge of the board, bring it down, lock it in, and then move it out of the way, and we'll cut 3 strips that same way. And remember, that's my good end right there, so I want it up. I don't want it on the floor. Now, because I'm actually measuring from the bottom up, you notice that I took the board and flipped it over. So my good edge is down, the edge I need to cut off is up. I'm now cutting from the bottom up. I can now use the tape measure at 11 3/4, and again, I put a small blue dot right at the measurement I'm looking for. But I need to stoop down. I can't do it from here. Looking down, measurement's gonna be off. My angle's wrong. So I need to look down and go straight in at 11 3/4, right there. Make your last cut. Here's your scrap. Just break it into a couple of pieces, throw it away. Now you might have noticed that while I was cutting, I had my hand on this last cut. I was holding it and kind of moving my hand down. That's because this piece is so small, the saw is actually going to drag it down. So I have to hold on to it. You or one of the other people in your group, hold the piece. Now, be careful that this piece is now shorter than this support. If I push right here too hard, it's going to fall out. And I'll demonstrate that in a minute. I grabbed a piece of 11 3/4 wide board, the same width as the strips we just cut. I only wanted to show this on a small piece because it will kind of ruin the edge. I'm ready to cut length, so it will be sitting sideways like this. But if you're not holding onto it actively, you push the saw in, that's going to happen every single time that you are cutting these strips if you're not holding it. Now what that does, of course, it drops on the floor and it starts to ding up the edges and you don't have a good edge for your next cuts. So please make sure to hold on to it. Now bring your longer strips over, let's cut length. For this cabinet, the sides are 38 inches long, but that varies depending on kitchens. Slide it down to 38, and again, keep a hand on it so it doesn't wobble out of the way and fall. So either here or right here in front. Then cut your short pieces and just keep going through the process until you get them all. Same as your lower cabinets, I would recommend cutting all of the lefts and rights first because they can move on to get the adjustable holes drilled in them while you're doing the rest of it. That way you just have a batch and you know that batch is complete, and it allows other people in your group to keep busy with other stuff and everything's getting done at once. We're back again to the boring machine, the line boring machine. And this is pretty much done just like the lower cabinets. Take a pencil and identify the bottom. Doesn't matter which end. For the most part, I would say you'd have a bunch of these in a cart laying face to face and you can do them all, but whatever. You would just put 2 lines, there's the bottom. Now I know where to cut from. In this, the only difference with this one is I don't have to move the fence for the second cut, make them the same. So it just goes a lot faster than the lower cabinets. The other difference is all of the spindles don't quite reach the top, depending on how big the cabinet is, of course. So if not, move it down to this little plunger right here. Put the rod in the last hole and that automatically lines it up space-wise, and do it again. And now I've drilled holes from top to bottom. Flip it over, repeat the same process on all of your lefts and rights. The edge bander is all set and running. I'm gonna just do my front and back. Now, these pieces are small enough, it's hard to tell which edge am I doing. Remember, take your tape measure. And I know that these need to be 11 3/4 wide. So that's 12 3/4. That's 11 3/4. That's correct, meaning either the one I'm hooked on or the one I'm measuring to is my front. Either one is fine with these. With your side pieces, it's obvious that it's either this long edge or that one. In this case, it doesn't matter, but they have to be opposite each other. So I put them together, holes to holes, just like it would be when it's glued together. Once that's correct, it's got to be either these 2 edges or these 2 edges. You can't mix and match them up, or you'll have 2 rights or 2 lefts. It's time to do the dowel holes again. Turn on the machine, and with these, with uppers, there's no weirdness, there's no odd holes. I don't have to slide this left and right as far as double drilling the top or anything like that. Edge banding to the fence, drill.
Once you finish your sides, turn the back up so that you can drill the top and bottom. Remember, edge banding goes towards the fence. Then move over to the table saw or panel saw and cut the back for each of your cabinets. Remember, you need it to be 1/16 of an inch less than what's written on the cut list. Next, assemble. Remember that you're putting in 1 large drop of glue for each of the dowel holes in this part of the assembly. Tap them in gently so you don't blow out the other side. Check the top and bottom. Make sure you're putting the best face inside the cabinet. And these holes get more glue than the first ones. Just don't overfill or they'll blow out in the case clamp. Assemble the box, measure its width, and match that in the case clamp. And then put your box inside to square it up.
Now that I put this into the case clamp, I wanted to make mention of one thing that is critical. Make sure it's not in upside down. How do I know? There's no lines here to represent the bottom. I look for those, and those lines are down on the bottom side. That's where they should be. For upper cabinets, because they're so narrow, I first put them in the center and put on the full press so it's nice and tight. Now I have to take it out and pop it up the backside so I can put the cleat in. Now that they're all on, you can see that the front is pushing further than the back. So I'm going to turn the front ones off, and I'm only going to be pushing with the rear. If you look here, these say front and those say rear. So I want the rear presses on, the fronts off.
Cut the cleat to the right length first, staple it in with the long staples. Then you'll release it, move it into the case clamp a little bit further for the back. It's a lot easier to put in. Now change to short staples and staple it in just as you did with base cabinets.